Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, committee. It's one subject for a long period of time. I appreciate your focus and attention on it. And I was prepared to just waive my clothes. But at the very tail end, I've heard some comments that after having read Article 5 several times, and that's not bragging, it's not a long article to read, but after reading it a number of times, I find it difficult to find some of the things that were proposed that were in it by several of the testifiers that were in opposition. Kathy Wilmot and Mr. Geis suggested that the government was going to be in charge, Congress was going to be in charge. I'm going to bore you by reading this, okay?
The floor is yours.
But it's not long. And Congress is mentioned several times, but you keep it in perspective in the context of the sentence, what they say Congress involvement is, okay? Article 5. The Congress, comma, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to the Constitution, or, as an alternative means of proposing amendments, on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of several states, shall call a convention for the same purpose, proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the Constitution, when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of several states, or by conventions in 3/4 thereof. So far, I've heard nothing about Congress being control in governing what the representation is going to be per state. I think Mr. Geis suggested, his suggestion is that somehow magically it was going to be the representation of Congress. So California would have, I don't know what it is, 44?
55.
A lot. And we would have 5 because that's our congressional representation. Everything I have ever read about this, in the mock convention of states that have taken place, guess what the representation was per state? 1 per state, 1 vote. 1 vote, right? You can send as many delegates as you want to debate with each other from your respective states on the issues that are being proposed, but you get 1 vote. 1 man, 1 vote, 1 state, 1 vote. So yes, if I heard out of hand what Mr. Geis said, I would say, why bother? We'll be outnumbered just like we are in Congress, right? No, it's not going to be that way. Every state's going to be equally represented, and those proposals are going to have the opportunity to be voted on, 1 vote per state. So we've heard from a lot of people who were proponents of this Convention of States, Article 5 Convention of States. And then we heard from those who were opposed to it, and you could argue that the sky was falling from either perspective, right? The sky was falling from the proponent saying something has to be done. Something has to be done. We have a $28 trillion debt. We don't balance our budget. We haven't had a balanced budget for years. It's continuing resolutions, whatever the heck that is. But that's not balancing the budget. We have to balance the budget here, but we don't there in Washington. So some people think, yes, things have gotten out of hand. But we're worried about the unknown. We know what the known is. I just explained what that is. All this debt, continuing resolutions, not doing a balanced budget, voting ourselves and our grandkids into oblivion with debt. And some are worried about what would happen if we had a convention of states and we allowed the states, vis-a-vis Article 10, to implement the authority that they have. Article 10 describes and defines what the respective authority is of the states and the federal government. And so, I don't know. All you need to know is, and I think it's the frustration in the American public can be can be kind of capsulized in one quotation. It was kind of a famous quotation from Speaker Nancy Pelosi when we were debating the health care bill, and she told the American public, we'll just have to pass the health care bill so you can find out what's in it. Okay? That doesn't work. It's not working. And so I encourage this committee to bring this to the floor for debate in general file, and let's have a discussion on the floor.
I'm here live in Philadelphia at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. When you hear the phrase lives, fortunes, and sacred honor, these are the folks we should think of, those who anonymously gave their lives. Well, today you have a chance to volunteer. You need to volunteer for conventionofstates.com, the movement that's going to save the country. These folks are willing to step up and give everything. We need you to give just a little bit. Go to conventionofstates.com and volunteer today.